You're listening to Strange by Nature, your guide to the strange, weird, unbelievable, and improbable wonders of the natural world.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for being here today. I'm Kirk Mona, and joining me are Rachel Gimza and Victoria Thompson. We're all naturalists who together have scoured the world for weird and wonderful wonders, just to please your mammalian brain's desire for novelty. Isn't that nice? Let's do this.
All right, everyone. Welcome to the show. I get to be here with everybody this week. I'm so excited. Okay, so
Hey.
question. Hey. So I'm going to get us started, and I have a question for the group.
Oh,
Okay.
I love questions. Yeah, what do you
Okay.
got?
We've talked about this on the show a little bit. What groups of animals are pollinators? So what animals do you know of
Beetles.
that pollinate? Okay, yes, beetles.
Bees,
88% of the flowering
Bees.
plants on Earth.
hummingbirds,
Hummingbirds,
Bats.
bats,
butterflies
humans?
and moths,
butterflies, moths,
I mean,
ants.
a lot of the insects.
ants. Yeah, a lot of insects.
There's probably some small mammals too.
Yeah,
Small
probably.
mammals. Yeah.
I mean, we already said bats.
Bats,
but
yeah.
yeah.
but like
Okay.
crawling small mammals.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
and
so-
then there's. But you're asking us about animals. I mean, there's wind and stuff like that too.
Right. Wind. I'm mostly asking about animals. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So a lot of those you talked about, those are pretty common knowledge ones. Insects.
If you say
are-
whales, I'm going to lose my mind.
I am not going to say whales, but that would have
God,
been
that'd be so cool.
absolutely wild.
Story of the century.
So those are really common. When we think of pollination, we tend to think about the insects, primarily the bats, hummingbirds, a lot of birds, things like that. And I've been no stranger on this show when it comes to pollination, my utter love for a lot of pollinators in general, and we've covered a wide variety
Sure.
between the three of us. Clearly, we've talked about bats, we've talked about hummingbirds, we've talked about
Bunch of nerds. Yeah.
Yeah.
and as we just discussed, there is a wide variety of animals that do pollinate flowers. And it's a pretty good deal, right? For both the plant and the animal. The plant gets the pollen spread out further to other flowers in its area than maybe it would be able to do so by wind. It wouldn't necessarily be... It would be directly to that particular flower and it'd be right in there versus like maybe being caught in the wind by another plant. And like overall, it's a much better deal.
Yeah, it works out pretty well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So not only is it a good deal for the plants, it also to allow them to get out to other flowers and get their pollen out further. It also allows a little bit more diversity in the flowers as well, because you can specialize in
for
different pollinators, having certain kinds come and visit your flower. But it also, the animal that pollinates, that's pretty high value snack. The nectar is pretty high value. It's good with calories and sugar and allows a lot of energy. So it's a win-win all around.
Well, and as is the pollen.
Exactly.
Yes.
So it's actually so effective. Scientists have actually like researched this. It up to 87% of all flowering plants. Okay. So all angiosperms, 87% depend on animals to pollinate their flowers. And that's
Wow.
definitely not an insignificant percentage.
Wait, that's wild, because the little fact
Yeah.
I threw out earlier was that 88% of the flowering plants on Earth are pollinated by beetles.
Uh-huh.
Does that mean only 1% is everything else?
We need to get our
maybe.
factoids straight.
Yeah, there's probably a little variation in the
I think
numbers,
there is.
obviously, but
Mine
still,
comes
like,
from
that's
a paper,
wild.
so it is absolutely wild. So it's, oof. And maybe it's 88% of the
Animal.
flowers that are being pollinated.
Oh, there you go. Yours was all the yeah.
Mine
Yeah.
are
No,
all
it's a
the flowering
different
plants.
different subset.
So yours
of,
is like
Yes.
by species. Yes. Okay.
Yes. Yours is by species. Mine is all flowering plants. How they
Gotcha.
pollinate.
Including the ones that, wind and everything. Yeah.
Exactly.
Of the ones
87%.
pollinated by insects, 88% are. That's excluding all the
Yes.
bats and the bumblebee, and sorry, the hummingbirds, and whatever you're about to talk about.
Yeah. So with that kind of background, let's talk about this is science,
say
Latin.
Say it.
I have it.
Oh, all right, I got my list. Here we
I'm
go.
ready. Okay. Nymphophea foliosa.
Oh, that sounded
that sounded
very
good.
plausible.
Thank you.
That's
I wrote it down
5 out of 6.
phonetically this week, so that way I would get it correct.
Stepping your game up. Oh my.
I am stepping it up. We're going to count it. All right. It was correct. I'm very proud of myself. I practiced.
And again, if it's not, almost no one will know.
So this is a perennial herb found in the mountains of Ethiopia. It's also called a red hot poker. There are...
Okay.
It has a few different names, but that's one of my favorite common names for it. And
Why did I just hear about this?
you might have.
The phrase red hot poker.
Uh-huh.
I literally just heard about, and I can't remember why. Was that with you, Rachel?
Was it-
We looked up. We're like, is that a plant? Okay, go on.
No.
I'm super intrigued now.
Okay.
Someone just mentioned this I was talking to.
Oh, well, fabulous. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about it. So this particular herb, okay, there's a couple different subsets. It has a variety of types. There's an evergreen and an herb species. We're going to talk about the herb. This herb is found in the mountains of Ethiopia, in the Afro-Alpine region environment. It looks a lot like grass with really long, narrow, thin leaves that look like grass leaves. They are narrow, they're long, and they can be anywhere, depending on the age of the plant, they can be anywhere from 4 to 39 inches long, or 10 to 100 centimeters, and I think that has to do with the age of the plant for the most part.
Okay.
Now, these plants, they produce their flowers, their inflorescence, they produce spikes. So these plants, they have really tall flowers that are pretty much like a spike. They're called red hot pokers because it is one long stem, and then the inflorescence is kind of like a cone that is going straight up.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, I googled it.
Absolutely
It's stunning.
beautiful. And often they are this beautiful shade. It's called red hot poker of red,
It's like a
orange,
flame.
or yellow. And often they're multiple colors. So it does.
The one I'm looking at is like red. It's like an ombre from like red down through orange to kind of yellow. Like,
Exactly.
That's gorgeous.
It's so pretty. And this plant has a pretty long bloom time as well, from June to November.
Oh, wow.
And in that time,
okay.
they actually are known to they have a high value nectar. They are producing a lot of nectar within those flowers.
Okay.
All right. So with that, they get pollinated by a good amount of animals. We haven't talked about it much in this show, but alpine regions, it can be a tough place to live. It's not always the easiest space. You have to compete for a lot of resources. So having a high value resource such as nectar that you can rely on and having it be utilized by a wide variety of animals can be really important. So they attract quite a variety of birds and insects to pollinate those flowers.
Okay.
But another pollinator that has been found recently includes the Ethiopian wolf.
Okay.
Okay. That's awesome. Tell us about
It
it.
is phenomenal. So first of all, this paper that I'm going to be pulling quotes from and where I found a lot of, I pretty much went through this paper like top to bottom. This paper is called Canids as Pollinators, Nectar Foraging by Ethiopian Wolves May Contribute to Pollination of Nymphophea foliosa. Open access journal. I'll talk about it a little bit more. This paper is phenomenal. They did a great job. Pretty much, they were observing, this is actually so the Ethiopian wolf is a rare subset of wolf, okay? They're not super common. And these researchers were following these wolves and noticed and watched them go up to these stalks of these flowers and lick and put their muzzle all over the bottom of the flowers, kind of licking at the most mature of the flowers to get that nectar treat. And they saw them do this multiple times. So they asked the question. They're like, hey, has anyone noticed that before? Is that a thing? And it turns out not really. There are some animals, and we mentioned it at the top of the show, that there are some mammals that pollinate, but overall, when we think of pollination, it is these small mammals. It is not big mammals. Humans kind of do it every once in a while, but it's usually like, it's never on purpose. It's not all the time.
Well, I mean, except in like agriculture.
Exactly. And that is a little bit different, obviously.
Yeah, it's kind of a different thing.
It's its own.
Because in that sense, we're actually trying to pollinate, whereas in most of the animal kingdom, the pollination is a side effect of feeding.
Exactly. So, to give it perspective, in mammals, where an animal that also eats meat, especially in the group carnivora, there are 343 potential and known there are 343 mammals in the group carnivora, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Only 4 were identified as potential and known pollinators. And all of those 4 were relatively small. So like a civet or a Cape Gray mongoose, very small, okay?
Yeah.
This is the first macro carnivore to be seen pollinating. And showing that they are contributing a decent amount, because what is happening is, because they're licking up all of the nectar at the bottom of those flowers, they're getting a lot of pollen on their nose.
A nose full of pollen, yeah.
Absolutely.
Muzzle covered in yellow.
Absolutely. It's so cute. And what happened was, these researchers, they did their due diligence. They followed, I think, 6 wolves from 3 different packs in the Ethiopian mountains, okay? Those 6 wolves, since they were from different packs, show that this is a behavior that is common, is not just specialized to one group of wolves, which can happen, absolutely. Sure. But that it is pretty common throughout that particular population. And they noticed and found that these wolves were not just doing it like, they weren't doing it just one flower. They were going anywhere. Most of them were doing 4 to 5. 2 of the wolves that they were following actually visited 20 to 30 flowers within that time, while feeding on those flowers. They absolutely had a sweet tooth. They were having an absolute great time. I mean, honestly, valid. I would also have a great time if I'm eating, like, that's just eating sugar water. Just, delicious. But because you could actively see from a good distance the pollen being deposited on the muzzle, that means that pollen is going to those new flowers 20, 30 different times. That's a huge range for a plant to be able to get to. And it's just really cool. That is really what I had for y'all today. I wanted to talk about these wolves being shown. Right now, it's just a incidence of it. Like, they're researching this, and they might be contributing to the pollination. It's not a driver necessarily.
I mean, every
But
bit
still,
counts,
every
right?
bit
Yeah.
counts. The fact that this is happening and that they are witnessing
Like none of
and
it's
seeing,
intentional. That's the whole thing. You know?
Exactly. So that they are contributing to pollination and they are a macro. It is making scientists to think a little bit more outside the box when it comes to pollination and what animals could be considered pollinators.
Yeah.
And it's just phenomenal research, and it's relatively new and it's open access. So again, the paper is canids as pollinators, nectar foraging by Ethiopian wolves may contribute to the pollination of Nymphophila foliosa.
Wow.
And thank you.
Super
Uh,
cool.
It was published in November of 2024 in the Ecological Society of America. It is an open access journal, so you can read all of it. They have some
Yay.
amazing photos of the Ethiopian wolves eating and licking these flowers. It's
with their little
truly
muzzle
so good.
full
With their
of skin.
muzzle.
Oh, awesome.
And we'll include some of those as well in our newsletter and social media posts. But
Very
I
cool.
saw this and I had to talk about this particular finding. My last little bit, I did get some background information, especially about the, it's also called the torch lily, the plant itself,
Okay.
from Wikipedia. So that is what I have for you both this week.
I did incidentally figure out while you were talking where I had heard of this plant before.
Ooh,
Yes.
Yes.
So this was so weird. I've never heard of this plant in my entire life until
you really,
3 days ago.
I mean,
3 days ago.
it's native
And-
to Africa, and as far as I
Yeah.
know, you've never been to Africa, Kirk.
No. So here's
So-
the deal. I was talking to my wife,
Uh-huh.
and it's a little inside thing. Some of you know, we are like super nerds also for like the Renaissance Festival.
Yes,
and
you
we
are.
We
Yes.
make our own costumes, and we're totally into that. I had been showing my wife a photo I collected years ago that I was like, oh, I gotta show this to my wife, that has a bunch of natural dyes for natural dyed fabrics.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
And
cool.
what some of those natural colors are. And we're going on the list, and it's like, oh, this is allium, this is, coneflower, and then one of the things was listed as red hot poker. And we're like,
oh,
what is, how do you color fabric with a red hot poker?
Ah.
And we looked up, we're like, oh, it's a flower.
it's a
That
flower.
was
Yeah.
3
Yeah.
days ago.
Oh.
What are the odds? Like, weird coincidence. Super weird.
That is so weird. And
So
like,
apparently, it can also be used as a natural dye.
cool. Yeah.
If you want to dye the muzzle of your,
I mean,
Your wolf.
I'm not surprised. Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. That's wild, Kirk. All right, we're gonna take a quick break, and when we return, it'll be Victoria.
Hey, we're back.
Hey.
Hey. So you guys remember last week I talked about that wild insect that lives in Brazilian caves where the female has a penis
Oh,
Yeah.
and the male has a vagina?
that was so weird,
Yes.
Victoria.
Yes.
I didn't forget, but I did I think I blacked out for a second. Anyway, keep going. Yeah.
Well, my topic this week is sort of tangentially inspired by that, at least in the sense that it has to do with all the strange to us ways that animals can reproduce.
Okay.
We've talked on this show a couple times before about parthenogenesis.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
You talked about the California condor, Rachel, showing unexpected cloning abilities. And
Yeah.
I talked about a fish a long time ago that does that.
that was a wild time. Yeah, that was.
So this is
that's
officially
it.
a nature finds a way, or life finds a way story.
Life finds a way.
Darn it, Kirk, you stole my punchline.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Just for those of our
You go ahead and
listeners
say it
who
if
may
you
not
want.
have heard those episodes or need a reminder, parthenogenesis is a form of asexual reproduction. It's quite common in invertebrates, but relatively rare, we think, in species with a backbone.
Yeah.
As of right now.
Yes. Well, today I'm talking about whiptail lizards in the genus Nematophorus.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, these are a group of about 19 species of lizards that are found in the southwest U.S. And in Central and South America.
Why am I like getting a vague like ding in the back of my head of like, I've heard of these lizards. Anyway.
You probably have.
Okay.
So of these approximately 19 species, about a third of the species are all female.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Third.
wow. Okay.
Yeah, these ladies are doing it for themselves. No males at all.
Okay. Nice.
Wild.
What's maybe even weirder is that even though every single individual in each of these species is female, they perform mating behaviors, like rituals.
Oh, fabulous.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this
Are
is
you
called,
saying that there are like there's gay lizards?
they are a bit of a gay icon at this point? Yes.
Love it. Love it. That's probably how I heard about this.
They. Never mind. I'm gonna.
No, yeah. Sorry, y'all. We're gonna keep going. I can make those jokes.
Yep. So this is called pseudosexual behavior, and it happens after the lizards ovulate. So, once a lizard has ovulated, it will find another lizard that hasn't ovulated and mount it and, do typical mating type movements.
Mounty behavior, yeah.
Yes, typically associated with males. And it's thought that they've done research to show that being mounted by another female will probably help to induce the one that has been mounted to ovulate herself.
That's what I was guessing. Okay.
Yeah, and then she in her
Makes
turn
sense.
can go mount another lizard. In a lab setting, they have found that the lizards will ovulate eventually, even if they're housed without any of the lizards that are behaving in this more stereotypically male way. But they ovulate sooner if they're mounted and actually produce more clutches of eggs per season. So there's a reproductive advantage.
Okay. Nice. I like it.
And this is actually a little similar to bisexual species. In this context, bisexual means having two sexes.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Good clarification.
Yeah.
Bisexual, by gender? No, they don't have a concept of gender that we
Right.
know of. Okay. Yep. Bisexual.
The limits
Keep
of our
going.
language. Keep going.
Oh.
So in bisexual species of lizards, the females that are housed with males will also ovulate more frequently and have more clutches of eggs than those housed without males. So this is kind of an interesting reproductive strategy. Parthenogenesis. There's some obvious advantages, like you get faster population growth when every individual can lay eggs, right?
Yeah.
And
But
it's easier to colonize new areas. You only need one individual minimum instead of two of opposite sexes. And also, if you're not having to spend a significant amount of time on finding a mate and courting and all of that stuff, you have more energy for other survival things.
Sure.
And if there's successful traits, if your offspring are clones, those traits are going to be passed down.
guaranteed.
Obviously, big
Clones
downside.
aren't great.
Yeah. Lack of genetic
Yeah.
diversity can be a problem.
Yeah.
These whiptail lizards, though, have found a way to get around it.
Oh, do tell.
Ooh,
Yes.
Have they?
They sure have. So it is a strange fact that all of these parthenogenic, all-female lizard species are actually hybrids. That's how they got that way. So
Oh, that sounds familiar.
let me
Okay.
let me explain.
Yeah.
So the way this happened, we think, is individuals of two separate bisexual whiptail species, A and B, mated and produced offspring. So Anne, and lizard Bruce got together and had a baby.
Good old Anne and Bruce. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
amazing.
and then their daughter Cassandra was a hybrid, mated with Aaron, a male from Anne's species, from the mom species.
Okay.
Okay. So the offspring, Diana, of this second generation backcross hybrid has not only not usual 2 copies of each chromosome, but 3 copies of each chromosome.
Oh.
So they're triploid, 2 copies of
Oh,
A,
jeez. Okay.
two copies of the A version from grandma
copy of the
and
B.
dad, and 1 copy of the B chromosome from Grandpa Bruce.
Okay. Huh.
So what does that mean
Okay.
for practical terms then when they reproduce?
Well, so this new D species is just the triploid one.
Right.
So Diana here, when she's ready to reproduce during meiosis, which is when you create your egg cells.
I see where
There's
this is
more
going.
to
Okay.
split.
Yeah, the A chromosome, one of the A chromosomes and the B chromosome will cross over and exchange genetic material.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So wait, so they're actually creating new genetic information even though it's
Sort of. Like, you
yeah,
look.
I mean, that's what genetic information is when you're like combining DNA in new ways, right? Like
Yes. I mean, so like, they have all the daughters will have all the same genes. But they're
right.
just
They might-
combined in different ways. So
Yeah.
they're expressed
Yeah.
differently. So it's
Okay.
they're not clones. They're kind of like
Yeah.
semi-clones.
that's
I don't even know what to
fascinating.
call it.
It's fascinating to think too, like
Huh.
if this is a viable situation, like there's no reason life on Earth just couldn't have all ended up that way.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't
Unless
able
there's
to
some other
find
limitation,
any
like,
information about like how this type of genetic recombination compares to sexual
Probably not
reproduction
as
in terms of
successful,
like
and so
yeah.
it's gotten
Yeah.
outcompeted. It probably
And
has happened many times and gotten outcompeted.
Mhm.
Well, it also probably, like, life finds a way. Yeah, we've talked about this. But life also goes the absolute easiest possible path.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Sometimes.
kind of harking back to what you were implying, Rachel, and what you talked a little bit about in your Condor episode. Parthenogenesis was once thought to be very rare in vertebrates. But scientists are realizing that it's actually more common than we once thought. And, all female species like the whiptail lizards are not common, but it seems that parthenogenesis can be triggered in quite a variety of species, fish, reptiles, and amphibians, usually when females are kept in environments without males. This will trigger the parthenogenesis. So,
Yeah.
life finds a way. That's from Jurassic Park. And in that book and movie,
Oh, yeah.
it was actually not that they started having parthenogenesis. It was that according to the science of the book, which is a little questionable because they had like filled in DNA with frog DNA. Some of the females turned into males, but they may not have needed that. If they just had a whole bunch
Yeah.
of female dinosaurs all together, they could have just started making babies on their own potentially.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. We've talked about that on the show, for sure. Oh,
That's what I got this week.
that's so cool. I love
Very
it,
interesting.
Victoria. It's so... love it. It's
All right.
very fascinating. I'm going to have
It
to
is.
check that out more.
My sources this week were, so one of the papers about this was from January 2004 in ILAR Journal, tracing the evolution of brain and behavior using 2 related species of whiptail lizards. And then a couple of articles, one from High Country News in November 2023 and Scientific American in February 2010.
Cool.
And then a little background information from Wikipedia.
Nice.
We are going to take a short break, and when we come back, Kirk's going to have something for us.
This week's episode is brought to you by the Society of Strange. That's what we call our patrons over at patreon.com/strangebynature. Society members directly support the show they love, and depending on their level of support, get fun perks such as bonus content on select shows, insider photos, water bottle stickers, and here's a big one, every level of support gets every episode 100% ad-free. Come join the other lovers of the show, help keep this strange show going, and get those ad-free episodes. We'll see you all over at patreon.com/strangebynature. Welcome back, everyone. Sorry, we're laughing giddy because we just had a really funny conversation, some bonus material for our patrons. So patrons, you can go listen to that.
Included.
Yeah, we told some stupid jokes. This week, it's going to continue to be a little silly here. I'm starting us off with some song lyrics. I'm curious if either of you can name this hit song from 1994 based on the lyrics. You ready?
Kirk, you want me to make you sad?
Nope. Here we go. In the time, this will be fun for you, Rachel. In the time of chimpanzees, I was a monkey, butane in my veins, and I'm out to cut the junkie with plastic eyeballs, spray paint the vegetables, dog food stalls with the beefcake pantyhose. Does that ring a bell?
No.
Oh, no. There are some more listeners screaming at their phones right now.
Of course.
Because they know this hit song. This is the song Loser by Beck.
Okay.
By Beck?
See, Rachel doesn't know who this is. She's
No.
such a...
You've never heard of Beck? Oh my
No.
God. I'm so old.
We're going to spend the week educating Rachel about Beck.
Okay.
I'm going to make her
Sounds
listen to
good.
this song.
I mean, I'm in.
We almost named our kid Beck. Actually, that was one of our top two choices. Not related to Beck, the artist, but
It's a good name.
Anyhow, so I'm going to talk about losers this week.
I love it. I'm in.
Yeah. That's why I
Losers,
picked that song.
excellent. There's a lot of them.
Everybody loves a loser.
In the animal world, do you think it's a good thing to be a loser?
I mean,
I think I'm
depends.
already getting
It's not
too
a trick
into
question,
the weeds. It depends on the situation, because in some ways it's not good, because maybe a loser means that you don't get to reproduce. Maybe being a loser means that you get to live another day. Maybe it means you get eaten. Maybe it means you get to, maybe you lose the territory, but you still get to mate with the female.
Rachel, you've named pretty much everything on my list. Bravo. That was fantastic. Yes, there's lots of reasons you don't want to be a loser. You might not get food. You might get eaten. You might not get a chance to mate. You might not get a territory. Like, generally, being a loser is a bad thing.
I mean, maybe you can sneak some things in every once in a while. Like, maybe
yeah.
you lose on the surface, but you secretly win because you may get another day.
Yeah. Well, Alexander G. Opfier and Bennett G. Gelf of McMaster University in Hamilton, Ontario, were interested in losers back in around 2003 or thereabouts, and they decided to set up an experiment with Japanese quail.
Okay.
And the thing you need to know about them, if you're not familiar, is that the males of this quail, it's a bird species, they are extremely aggressive and they like to fight. And so this seemed like a good choice for determining winners and losers. If they had picked a more subtle species to study, it might have been hard to differentiate, winners and losers, but it might be a more subtle thing. And scientists do study winners and losers in more subtle ways. And there was
like
nothing
the epitome
subtle.
Of hold my beer, but in quail.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, there's nothing subtle about Japanese quails. This is actually a species that has been used for animal fights, like cockfighting in Asia. For a long
hold
time.
my beer. Got it.
Very much so. When you put two males together, they will readily fight. And so I think we all generally have an idea that males fight over resources, and then females are watching to see which males are successful. Because the idea being that the stronger male is going to produce stronger offspring and give the females a better chance to have her offspring survive if she mates with that strong male. And, sometimes the females are there and witness these feats of strength that the males are doing, but sometimes they also don't even need to. Sometimes the females are more interested in who has the best territory who has the best status, and that's the result of those fights, but they're not having to actually watch that themselves. They just mate with whoever has the best territory. I think we've talked about that on the show as well. Still, though, like, bad to be a loser because you're not going to have that territory and you're not going to get a mate. So,
Right.
Ophir and Gallup wanted to put those stories to the test, so they acquired a bunch of Japanese quail, but they did have one problem. Any research you do has to be both ethical and legal.
Yeah.
And the test they had in mind would be neither.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right? Because
Cockfighting is
not
very
great.
illegal and,
Yes.
hurts the birds.
exactly. Organized animal fights are illegal in Canada for good reason.
And
because
in
there
the
were-
U.S.,
yeah,
many
well, this was-
places, many places.
This was being done in Canada. That's why I mentioned
Yes.
the great country of Canada. So even if they were, legal, it'd probably still be unethical to purposely pit them against each other, as they are very violent. So this isn't just a bunch of showing off. Japanese quail are violent fighters. However, they needed to have the quail fight in order to see how the females would react. So, like, what do you do? The
You
solution they
put
came
a
up with.
mirror in front of the male.
Oh, that'd be interesting. That you couldn't then compare how the female reacts to the two different males, though. If you did
That's
that,
fair.
it's a good idea. They did something similar, actually, though. They just used a big piece of plexiglass to keep them
Oh.
separate.
Okay.
So set up like a little fight arena there, piece of plexiglass in the middle, put them in and see how they react. And what they actually did to kind of figure out the aggression is they counted the number of times each male attacked the barrier, thinking that they were going to attack the other bird. And so that was like a good proxy for the aggression and who was who would have won the fight, basically. So they never actually made contact with each other. But to the watching females, they allowed females to watch this happening. It was really clear who the more aggressive bird was, at the very least.
Right.
So these same female birds were then watched to see which bird they approached to mate with, or at least hang out with and associate with afterwards. And overall, they tended to choose the loser.
Oh, interesting.
I am not surprised. Well, I mean, like, in the way
I
of,
am.
like, I mean, I'm surprised in, like, based on all of the setup. But
Okay.
if you think about it, too, from the female's perspective, like, if you go for the loser who's less aggressive, then they're more
Okay.
likely to be, like, maybe a little more gentle with you. Or I'm anthropomorphizing a little bit, but, like,
You totally, that's
Yeah.
totally anthropomorphizing, Rachel, and that's
Yeah.
okay because you're completely correct.
yeah!
I think this is a pretty surprising result that would, like we indicated, would seem to go against what we think of as the predominant narrative that we tell about nature. But of course, that narrative is told by humans, and humans have our own biases and our own cultural baggage that we tend to load onto animals. We also tend to oversimplify. Like, sure, the females of many species do often pick the winners, but it is dangerous in science to make assumptions and overgeneralize your findings. So with that in mind,
And I would like to
What's-
also point out
what's
too,
going on?
Often the losers die in those like if you're fighting, you're either too injured to potentially mate or might not like live to mate.
I don't know if that's true. Like,
Yeah?
on average, from a lot of what I've read, a lot of the sort of the fighting that we think about with animals is very much for show.
Okay.
It's not as violent as it actually is with this species. A lot of it's posturing.
Okay.
Where it's basically showing off who can show off the most, which often in humans is what it's come down to, is just like who's the biggest show off, kind of,
Right.
Yeah.
unfortunately. But like, well, not unfortunately in the sense of like, I'm glad we're not out killing each other.
Yeah.
But like, unfortunately, people tend to show off a lot for the opposite sex. But,
Yeah. Okay. That's a good
because if you're really fighting to the death, that's a very dangerous situation for any animal to find in. It's a much higher risk than fighting to shame or something, right? So
Right,
from an
yeah.
evolutionary standpoint, fighting to the death is more rare because it's not great for the species. You can always live to fight another day and try to mate with someone else, right? Find a different territory, an empty territory or something. But let's talk about what's going on
Yes, what's happening here?
Okay. Well, they noticed something else in the data that may give us a clue about what is actually happening. And Rachel, I think you were on the right track here. So in order to figure out, we need to look more closely at the females, their choices, and their experience. You see, this choosing of losers wasn't universal. If you listen carefully to what I said overall, the females tended to choose the loser. That means sometimes the birds chose the winner. And there was a pattern that they noticed between who tended to choose the winner and who tended to choose the loser. Ooh. Younger, less experienced, essentially the virgin birds, tended to do what you would expect, and they chose the winner of the fights. Again, though, Japanese quail are very violent, and the mating process is unpleasant. There's lots of chasing and pecking. The males will even attempt to mate with the females' heads sometimes. They will drag the females around by their feathers. It doesn't sound great. So I don't think that's just like a human feeling either. Like, oh, the birds probably don't mind. No, they seem to mind. As this study shows, the birds, like you said, Rachel, figured this out, and they're like, this guy sucks. Like, I don't want to, like, why would I pick that guy? I'm going to get beat up.
Hurt me.
Right. So once a bird had mated with one of those winner males, they found she was far less likely to ever make that stupid choice again. She essentially learns the lesson that these winner males are violent jackasses that are not worthy of their time and attention. The loser male is actually a safer bet. So this turns out to also be an interesting study about learning in birds, shows that they can learn from their experiences, which shouldn't be surprising, but sometimes I think it is when we notice those kind of things in other animals. That's really all I have for you this week. It's pretty short and sweet.
Phenomenal.
It turns out sometimes it pays to be a loser, and the losers really are the winners. So my source this week is kind of interesting. It was singular. This research was talked about at a conference and then written up as an article in Science News back in 2003. So it comes from there. That's the source.
That's awesome.
Very interesting.
Very cool. Yeah, well, something to think about.
Thanks, Kirk.
You're welcome. That's it. It's time for us to go.
Oh,
we've made it to the end of the show.
But
that was really fun.
We'll be back next week.
Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone, for listening to today's show. Be sure to subscribe. New episodes drop every Wednesday, and we love sharing this strange world with all our listeners. If you would be so kind as to leave us a 5-star rating and review wherever you get your podcasts, that would be great. It lets other lovers of the strange discover the show. You can reach us by searching for Strange by Nature Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and Blue Sky. You can send us an email as well. Our address is contact@strangebynaturepodcast.com. If you want more information about the show, you can check out our website, strangebynaturepodcast.com, and you can support the show and get ad-free episodes at patreon.com/strangebynature. Until next week, get outside, stay curious, and embrace the strange.
Why is a bee's hair always sticky?
Why is a bee's hair always sticky? I don't know, Rachel. Why?
As a buzz cut? I don't know.
Ooh, because it uses a honeycomb.
Oh.
Oh. God.
Thank you.
All right.